I've been following the Nomadic Fanatic YouTube channel very closely the last few months. Um, as you know, I subscribe to it and I follow it. But I follow it here and there, you know. But I've been following it real closely lately because, well, it seems like he's had one hell of a year this year. And certainly the first 6 months of this year has been really trying on him. And kind of been beaten up by the world. And wisely took the new mobile home he bought for him and this woman that, you know, spent a month in it before she left him. He took Miranda and changed direction and headed home, back to where he was born, where he grew up, where he went to school, Washington State. And I thought that was a wise choice. We are at the Cancer Plaza. I've seen this around the country. There's one in Houston, I believe, comes to mind. And it's basically the same sort of design. It's by a couple called Block, and they've put this in a number of cities. I've seen, and it's almost identical in every city. A person with cancer and the various hoops or you know, sort of struggles they have to go through to get out of cancer and in remission to the other side. And I'm reminded of, you know, this family, this Block thing here, as I think of Wendy, ironically enough, here in the birthplace of Wendy here. Not far from downtown on the campus of Ohio State. It's sort of my PITT-OHIO connection, Wendy. Wendy was born here. The restaurant was born here. The headquarters moved to Dublin now. And here in Ohio, Dublin, Ohio. When last we met my Wendy, who I knew at Pitt, at the University of Pittsburgh, she had just told me that we, outside a bar, no, we left her, that's right, we left her the last time I physically saw her, which was a bar surrounded with a bunch of guys drunk off her ass, and, you know, her sorority sister looking on at she and I. When I had a breakdown in Phoenix as I was going towards my master's degree, I completely fell apart in Phoenix. And, you know, I blamed myself, and, you know, for many, many years, I was working part-time, I was going to school, I was trying to, you know, maintain the classes so I can get the student loan, and, you know, I had a thesis coming up that I had to, you know, first write and then, you know, present, and a lot of things were going on. But I hear it's very common, actually, for graduate students, more at the doctoral level than the master's level. I shouldn't have really been at the master's level, but that's probably why I had my breakdown then. But anyways, I completely fell apart. Sister had to pick up the pieces and ship me back home to the folks. So I returned home defeated, about 22 years old, into a, well, I left a dying steel town and returned to a dead steel town. Not much was happening. Most of the people that I knew from high school were gone. The high school itself was gone. They had closed the Catholic high school that I attended since, what, 6th grade. They closed that down in my junior year. And my senior year was at a new high school that they built for the children of Swissvale, PA. Anyways, I returned home, and I really didn't want to look up anybody. I didn't really, because I really didn't care about anybody. I did look up Larry, and you know, he was married by then. He, you know, they were having children. He was nesting, if you will, and he was working. So single days were over with him. But I did look up Wendy. Did look up Wendy for some reason. She lived in Fox Chapel, which is an extremely exclusive neighborhood. And just one night on a whim, I went to Fox Chapel to find out, you know, where she lived. And it was at night, and it was dark. It was an exclusive neighborhood, you know, very, very meager street lighting. So I stopped into the police station in Fox Chapel, and just to show you how exclusive the neighborhood was, the police guy at the desk knew her family by name. You know, he said, "Oh yeah, you want the Williams? They are, you know, they are down the street, and you want to make a left. Look for, you know." And so, okay, he gave me the street number and everything. So, said thank you. So I went the next day to her house, and it was empty. It was middle of the week, middle of the day, and I went, and no one was home. But it was a big house, ironically, at the end of the street. You know, not even a cul-de-sac. It wasn't even a cul-de-sac. It was just the end of a street, and you know, huge house, and not a big yard even. a front yard. I wasn't gonna, tour. I was going on the grounds, but not even a big front yard. It just seemed, shuttered and cold and closed, and a lot like I found Wendy in class. And I'm sure it was her mother's urging or her father's urging to rush, if the girls even rush, Tri-Delts. Because Tri-Delts is a service-oriented sorority, from what I heard. So I have a feeling, first of all, she had to be in a sorority. She had to meet people, girls, and then, the jumping off point with guys, I'm sure, is how her parents had hoped. But anyways, it's a very service-oriented sorority, like we saw in Memphis. God, they have a wing. They donated an entire wing of St. Jude's Hospital. The Tri-Delts National Organization did. So they're a social organization with service in mind. And, and I was looking for a little of that service, if you will, when I knew Wendy. And maybe I was looking for a little bit after, when I went back, after collapsing at the University of Pittsburgh. But it was not to be. I don't know what happened to Wendy. I don't know, what became of her, where she was, what happened. I have a feeling she, married one of the guys, the 10 guys she was dancing with, and in control of at that bar. That night she came to that bar she was with her sister, one of her sisters from the sorority, I'm sure. So hope she picked well. She's married now with children of her own. Perhaps she's trying to raise. But I hope she's happy. And hope she's content. Here on the Ohio State University campus, it is William with family that he's known since Phoenix and Houston, places like that.